Hello class, this is Demetrius Wilson with Business One. We are on Chapter 3, doing business in global markets. If you have any type of business on the internet, you know that your business is basically global because anybody can come to your e-store and purchase something. And you know that many of us have purchased things from countries, international, and we all, well, for the most part, have purchased goods domestically. So we're going to talk about how it works in our domestic world and see how that attaches to the international world as well. So learning objectives for this chapter are discuss the importance of the global market and the roles of comparative advantage and absolute advantage in global trade, explain the importance of importing and exporting and understand key terms in global business, illustrate the strategies used in reaching global markets and explain the role of multinational corporations, evaluate the forces that affect trading in global markets, and debate the advantages and disadvantages of trade protectionism, and discuss the changing landscape of global market and the issue of offshore and outsourcing, which is a very touchy subject, especially here in the American market. As always, I want you guys to read the first story, a really good story about the CEO of Samasource, and check out Name That Company. That's always good as well. I want you guys to just take close look at this world by population by continent. I know we all think that it's just about the United States, but it's not. If you look at that, 7.4% of the people in the world are in the United States, 6.9% in South America. So between North America and South America, that's not making up too much. But you look over in Europe, you have 10.7. In Africa, you have 14.9% of the people. In Asia, you have a whopping 60.2%, and Australia, you have a 0.5%. So you kind of get a better picture when you're looking at the actual globe of where everybody in the world is, and that feeds into the factor of what do companies do, like the National Business Association, the NBA, played 8 preseason games in Europe, Asia, and South America. Want to feed that market and get even a bigger base in terms of who watches the NBA, who purchases things as well. Um, the National Football League, or the NFL, plans to play 3 games in London's Wembley Stadium. They sell out, events there all the time, whether it be football, as they call soccer over there, or boxing in Wembley Stadium. So, have to diversify, go out into the global market. 2 terms that you have to know: importing and exporting. So, importing is buying products from another country. I don't the United States doesn't produce, let's just say it's copiers, right? So we buy those copiers from another country. Exporting is selling products to another country. So let's say that country that we're buying the copiers from, let's say that they don't have radios, so we send them or sell them radios, right? So importing, exporting, have to know. You talk about the country, and we talk about the our balance. Like, are we exporting more goods than we're importing? Typically, shows very favorable. Free trade is the movement of goods and services among nations without political or economic barriers, meaning, hey, we're free to trade. We'll talk about later about the NAFTA, or the North American Free Trade Agreement, free to trade between countries. For that particular one, it's in North America so that we could trade with our partners and trading partners with Canada and Mexico. So here are the pros and cons of free trade. So the pros, or your thumbs up: global market contains over 7 billion potential customers for goods and services. Productivity grows when countries produce goods and services in which they have comparative advantage. Global competition and less costly imports keep prices down, so inflation does not curtail economic growth. Free trade inspires innovation for new products and keeps firms competitively challenged because there's more people in the pool of the competition. Uninterrupted flow of capital gives countries access to foreign investments, which helps keep interest rates low. Now, these are the thumbs down. These are the cons. Domestic workers, particularly in manufacturing-based jobs, can lose their jobs due to increased imports or production shifts to low-wage global markets. Right. So we said, you know what, we're gonna send this offshore. We're gonna outsource this to someone else because they can do it a lot cheaper than if we paid our own employees. Workers may be forced to accept pay cuts from employers who can threaten to move their jobs to lower cost global markets, right? Maybe I don't say we're leaving, but we may leave, so you have to take this pay cut. Moving operations overseas because intense competition pressure often means the loss of service jobs and growing number of white collar jobs, right? Growing number of white collar jobs to go in, change the structure, think about it, and say we don't need as many blue collar people here. Let's place some technology there. Domestic companies can lose their comparative advantage when companies build advanced production operations in low-wage countries. So talk about comparative advantage and absolute advantage, right? So if you have an advantage, you need to take advantage of that advantage. So comparative advantage theory that states that a country should sell to other countries those products that are produced more effectively and efficiently, and buy from other countries the products that it cannot produce as effectively or efficiently, right? So if you're good at it, you're good at ABC, do ABC and produce those and sell those. And if someone else is good at XYZ, let them be good at those and produce those. Absolute advantage is the advantage that exists when a country produces specific product more efficiently than all other countries. So you've got it. You're the only show in town, and you should definitely produce that and sell it to everyone else. All right, just be smart about your business. Read the little story right there about the ugly dolls. That one's interesting. Short story though. I alluded to this earlier. So balance of trade is the total value of a nation's exports, right? So you have your exports compared to imports measured over a particular period of time. Exports going out of the country, money's coming in. Imports, we're bringing things in and money's going out, right? So the balance of trade. Trade surplus, favorable balance occurs when the value of the country's exports exceeds its imports. So exports is here, imports is down here, we have a trade surplus. But if we have imports up here and exports down here, then we have a trade deficit. And a trade deficit is unfavorable balance of trade occurs when the value of the country's imports exceeds its exports. So along those same lines, balance of payments, the difference between money coming into a country from exports and money leaving the country from imports, plus money flows from other factors such as tourism, foreign aid, military expenditures, foreign investment, things of that nature. Right. So largest exporting nations in the world and largest United States trade partners. So largest exporting nations, United States and Russia, huge. All right. Then we also have Italy in there. Top U.S. trading partners, we have Canada, Mexico, and Brazil, right? The Canada and Mexico because of NAFTA or North American Free Trade Agreement. And then over here, Saudi Arabia too, right? Because oil, obviously. And then both, meaning both world's largest exporting nations and top U.S. trading partners, we have China, and then we have United Kingdom or England, Netherlands, Germany, and France. All right. And that all makes sense. So dumping, so not dumping your boyfriend or your girlfriend, selling products in a foreign country that at a lower price than what you charge in your domestic country. So if I sell cell phones, I sell them here for $500. I sell them somewhere else for $300. That means I'm dumping. I'm dumping them all off there, just trying to make sure I don't have as big a loss as I'm going to have in terms of that business investment. Test prep. I want you to make sure you go over your test prep, ask those questions, and get everything in your brain. So when you go take your quiz and you do go take your test, you do a great job. Um, so these are strategies for reaching global markets. We'll go over all of them, but I'll just read them. And if you look at this aerial, if you pause the video and look at it, you see least amount of commitment, control, risk, and potential profit, and this has the most. So licensing, exporting, franchising, contract manufacturing, international joint ventures and strategic alliances, and foreign direct investment. We'll go over each one of those. So licensing, a global strategy in which the firm allows a foreign company to produce its product in exchange for a loyalty fee. So you pay me a fee and you can produce my product. Not a lot of risk there for me. Some risk always, but it's not that much. So sometimes the least risky thing is the direction people will go. Franchising, right? So sometimes people don't want to spend their money to open up a brand new business or um, take those type of risks. So they open up a franchise, something that's proven, Domino's, Subway, things of that nature that are franchises that you can invest in and know that you have the national support from them. So some people don't want to go as far as just creating from their own design, their own head, like Demetrius's sandwich shop. Contract manufacturing, a foreign company's production of private label goods to which a domestic company then attaches its brand name or trademark, part of the brand category of outsourcing, right? So Nike, we're going to send these shoes there, they fix it, send them here, establish, this is our logo, and then send them. Like typically you're going to look at Nikes and say, okay, where are they made? Well, they're definitely not made in Tennessee. You're going to see they're made in like Taiwan or somewhere. McDonald's, over 100 500 cultures served. So I want you to read that. McDonald's really good about getting into the culture, right? They know not to, have a beef burger in India. They know to have mayonnaise for French fries in France. So you have to think about the different things that they do that they do oh so well. A joint venture is a partnership in which two or more companies, often from different countries, join to undertake a major project. So now we're going to have a joint venture. We're going to get together and we're going to succeed even bigger and better. It's like like they say, a good marriage between companies. Strategic alliance is long-term partnership between two or more companies, so it could be more than two companies, established to help a company build competitive market advantages. So I've got this market here, and you can take advantage of that market, but you do business in China, and you've got a business there that I can, succeed more by getting in the contacts from your business. So now we're going to create a strategic alliance, and you're going to take my customers, I'm going to take your customers, and we're going to just retire and be rich in the Caribbean. Foreign direct investment, the buying of permanent property and businesses in foreign nations, right? So if you're going that direction, you know that, hey, we're fully committed to make this happen and have this foreign direct investment take place. Foreign subsidiary, company owned in a foreign country by another country called the parent company. So I have plenty of parent companies, and then they say, okay, we're going to put this one here in Los Angeles, one in New York, right? One in Miami, things like that. But the head, the top, the parent company is in Montana or something like that, or it could be, I'm sorry, it could be in another country. That it could be in, let's say it's Mexico, and then they have headquarters in LA, New York, and Miami. Multinational corporation organization that manufactures and markets products in many different countries and has multinational stock and ownership and multinational management, right? The company I work for does. If you get hold of a company like that, probably a pretty good solid place to be at and to remain. Uh-oh, I think I went by toothpaste. Okay, so I just want you to check this out kind of on your own. But the largest multinational corporations in the world, as you'll see when you pause the video and look through the list, that you'll see a lot of gas companies there. That's the country, that's their website if you want to go check them all out. All right, more test prep. Make sure you go over that once you do good on your quizzes, because we will have a quiz for every chapter. From setting picks to picking grapes, right? That's Yao Ming. He's not shooting a basketball anymore, but he is selling wine. So he's got into that, and it's good to see some of these athletes take their money, invest it wisely, not just invest it in a bunch of harebrained schemes, probably brought to them by their friends. So it's good. I want you to read that story for sure. I think it's a good thing. So here's your time to laugh. Oops, did we say that, right? So these are all the mistakes that people made because they didn't translate things right. If you want to open up in another country, get somebody from that country there that speaks the language. Not my advice to get somebody from here that may have a translation of a couple words wrong. So KFC's patented slogan "Finger licking good" was understood in Japanese as "Bite your fingers off." Pepsi Company attempted a Chinese translation of "Come Alive, You're in the Pepsi Generation" that read to Chinese customers as "Pepsi brings your ancestors back from the dead." Coors Brewing Company put its slogan "Turn it loose" into Spanish and found out it translated as "suffers from diarrhea." Purdue Chicken used the slogan "It takes a strong man to make a chicken tender," which was interpreted in Spanish as "It takes an aroused man to make a chicken affectionate." On the other side of the translation, Glitch, Electrolux, a Scandinavian vacuum manufacturer, tried to sell its products in the United States market with the slogan, "Nothing sucks like Electrolux," right? Probably not what you want to lead with. Exchange rate, get off the airplane, another country, what do you see? A place to exchange the money. My dollar is worth $1, your dollar is worth $1.30 because the euros are up and the dollars are down, right? Just an example. Exchange rate, the value of one nation's currency relative to the currencies of other countries. All right, it talks about the dollar. I know you'll read those. Read those two on your own as well. Countries rated highest in corrupt business: Somalia, North Korea, Afghanistan, Sudan, South Sudan, Libya, Iraq, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and Syria. And as you can see, there's quite a few uh, countries from the continent of Africa on there, but that's something that they've been needing to work on a little bit. So more test prep, right? Make sure you go through your test prep. I understand you may look at it and say, but you got to go through your test prep. Make sure that you review it, understand everything, be solid, take your quiz. Trade protectionism is the use of government regulations to limit the import of goods and services, right? So we're going to limit certain things because let's say you're from China, I'm from the United States. You have somebody there that makes radio and you want their business to succeed and strive. But I make radios too and I want to bring them over into China. So then they're saying, hey, we're going to protect our person by making sure that he can come to China, but he cannot sell any more than this amount of stereos or whatever I'm selling. All right? Hope that makes sense. Tariffs is a tax imposed on imports, right? So we import tables in, then we have to get tax. Import quota is a limit on the number of products in certain categories that a nation can import, right? So it just says, hey, here's our limit, right? Here's our quota. And an embargo is a complete ban on the import or export of a certain product or the stopping of all trade with a particular country. Story I like to tell is that I forget what Asian country, but they were sending in this fish, and it was said to be catfish, but it wasn't really catfish. It was catfish's cousin, and catfish's cousin was not something that was acceptable in the United States. So they put a complete embargo on that and said, you know what, don't bring catfish's cousin over into the United States anymore. World Trade Organization. I want you to go ahead and check that out on your own. General agreement on tariffs and trade. Check that out on your own as well. Just talking about different organizations, different things relating to relating to trade. North American Free Trade Agreement, I talked to you guys about that already. Created a free area among United States, Canada, and Mexico, right? All good bordering countries. Let's make sure that we are the best trading partners that we could be. More test prep. Like I said, it'll help you for your quizzes, but also help you understand everything relative to business, or at least everything that we're going over. I don't want to say every single thing in business. And you say, hey, I was supposed to be rich in 3 days, but that's not the case. Read this right here. Just China's economy. China out there just looks like a lot of people. I don't know when's the last time you went somewhere and there were that many people just going to work. So lots and lots of folks in China, lots and lots of opportunity. Challenge of outsourcing and offshoring. See the title still, but or the challenge of offshore outsourcing. So offshore outsourcing means that I'm sending it to another country. Domestic outsourcing means that, hey, I'm gonna have somebody. I live in Long Beach. I'm gonna have somebody in Santa Ana do it. So big difference. If we outsource internally, we're definitely helping to stimulate our economy. When I say internally, I mean domestically here in the United States. So here are the pros and cons of offshore outsourcing. Less strategic tasks can be outsourced globally so that companies can focus on areas in which they can excel and grow. Outsourced work allows companies to create efficiencies that in fact let them hire more workers. Consumers benefit from lower prices generated by effective use of global resources, and developing nations grow, thus fueling the global economic growth. And then these are the cons. Jobs may be lost permanently, and wages fail due to low cost competition offshore. Offshore outsourcing may reduce product quality and can therefore cause permanent damage to the company's reputation, right? So you send it off, they make the snowboard, send it back to you, but the snowboards are very poorly made and they break every time somebody gets on them. Communication among company members with suppliers and with customers becomes much more difficult, right? So you want to change something on a dime, doesn't always happen that way. More test prep right there. Making your operation your vacation. This one's interesting, talking about, I want you to read it on your own, but talking about people going to another country to have an operation because it's much cheaper there. So it might be individuals that couldn't cut it in the United States, but it could be individuals that just got their medical degree out there in a different country and have chosen to stay there. But I'm not saying if something's wrong with you to necessarily go there. So now we've made it all the way to our summary. I want you to continue to go through the summary and go through all the supplements here in the chapter. They will help you throughout the text. They will help you throughout the quizzes, homework assignments, and everything. As always, we're moving right along. We're at week 3. It'll be overall, but long before you know it. Just as always, I tell you guys, I want you to have a good day and a great week. Be sure to email me if you need anything. Always be available to assist.